Business relationships can go sour, very sour. Watch and listen as these associates argue, defend, present their facts, and provide their evidence. Then prepare your ruling. You be the judge.
The cases that we have prepared for this project are intended to be used in an educational setting. These are illustrations only, and they're not an accurate reflection of the complexity of an actual trial. They were chosen to highlight certain issues. You may disagree with my rulings, and that is okay. The goal of this project is to teach critical thinking and analysis. If you do disagree with me, all I ask is that you make a good argument in doing so.
The plaintiff claims her former boss spread vicious rumors about her. Then she lost all her clients. The defendant claims he only repeated what he was told.
I worked for Mr. Witherspoon for 4 years. I've known him for 5 years, and we always had a very close relationship until I told him I was going to start my own company. Although I specifically told him it was not in direct competition with him, and I hoped that he would wish me well. Instead, he threw a fit. I would say went into a rage, and suddenly I lost most of my clients and stood to lose any future clients for my business. Well, the key issues are that if you look at all my history, I find it preposterous that in the course of such a short amount of time that my reputation, spotless for so long, could crumble in such a way. I want the judge to understand that even though Mr. Witherspoon appears like a very nice gentleman, and will probably say that, he didn't participate in any of this, that there is no way that all of this could have happened so swiftly without a catalyst. And I believe that Mr. Witherspoon is the catalyst for everything that has been happening in the past several months.
I worked directly with the plaintiff for about 4 years, and we had a very close working relationship like father and daughter, although not socially, really in the workplace. And it's changed somewhat now because of these accusations that she's made. I think the key issues are that there's no way that anyone can prove that you're trying to defame someone unless you can find a witness to say that you made up the story, and I don't know how she could do that. The plain simple fact is my own customers told me that they thought what she had done was a bit underhanded, and I think maybe she kind of realized that too later. She got a little guilty conscience about it, and then when these stories started breaking, she naturally thought that I was trying to defame her. It's very unfair, and I think they'll throw the whole thing out of court.
Ms. DuPont, why don't you tell me a little bit about why you're here today?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm here because I believe that this man spread rumors and gossip about me and my business, and caused damages financial to my business and emotional to me.
Now, I understand that you used to work for Mr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
How long were you working for him?
4 years. I've known him now about 5 years.
And then what happened?
I was working for him throughout college because I was trying to pay for my education. I came here from France, and I became a cleaner, a maid in his service, and we became very close. He was like a father figure to me. I graduated from school, and I decided to start my own business, also in the cleaning business, but I was very clear and very direct with him from the beginning that I did not intend to compete with his market. When I did a proactive thing, and I think the integrous thing, by contacting him before I talked to anyone else and telling him what I intend to do, he flew into a rage and threw me out of his office, which was very traumatic. So anyway, after this incident where he threw me out, I did the next thing, which I thought was also the right thing to do, which is I called all the clients that I had, who I developed through Mr. Witherspoon, and his business. I call them all and I tell them, I'm sorry, I cannot work for you anymore because we are no longer associates. But the thing is, I had about 10 clients through him, and about 6 of them said, no, we don't want somebody else, we want you. So they decided that of their own volition, they were going to go with my new company, which I was building at the time, called Mama's Helper.
How did he defame your character? Did he say something about you?
Yes, I have reason to believe, based on what several of my clients have told me, that he spread vicious rumors and gossip about me that were untrue. I lose all my business suddenly, and of course I wonder why. So I called my first client, who I have worked with the longest. I approached her directly. Instead of asking a question, I went on my hunch, which was that it had something to do with Mr. Witherspoon. And I called her and I said, I know what Mr. Witherspoon said, and I deny it, and I can back it up. And that, of course, opened up the box. And she said, well, you know, it's all right. We have always had a good relationship. I always trusted you, but I can't be in a position where my house would also be robbed. So naturally, she assumed that because he was implying that I had something to do with his first robbery, which of course I have nothing to do with, that it was going to happen to other clients of mine. The second time was, then I called, I spoke to Mrs. Lebrock, and she was the one who told me that she heard that I had AIDS. She was very sorry, I was so sick, and that I could not come into her house anymore because she was afraid of AIDS.
So you're saying that you lost their business as a result?
I lost their business. Not only that, but because of a small community, the gossip and the talk goes around, not only did I lose the clients that I had already, I lose future business because nobody wants to hire this new firm, Mama's Helper, because the founder of it supposedly has AIDS and is involved in international crime ring conspiracy. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Mr. Witherspoon, how do you respond?
Well, Your Honor, I categorically deny the accusations that she's making. I did not start these stories, absolutely not. I heard from one of my former clients, and she told me what was going on. And I felt it beholden upon myself to tell my other clients who had been my customers for 15, 20 years, if there was anything amiss that my former employee was doing, that they should know about it.
Are
and
you
so forth.
telling me that you called these different clients of yours and you told them
I
that?
heard first. I don't remember whether I called them or whether they called me, because they heard the story starting to circulate.
Which story is this, regarding a robbery?
Well,
or?
there was the story of the robbery, of the house being cleaned out. And it was in the papers about the police questioning Miss DuPont. And so that was another worry.
And this happened after Miss DuPont was no longer in your employ?
Oh yes, yes. This happened when after she had started her own business.
Now, this bout of illness, when did this occur?
Can I please say there is no illness? My boyfriend, who's my fiancé now, he's a doctor. And he said, I think you might be anemic. Let's take a blood test and see. Okay, so I'm anemic, but so is, 70% of the female population. It's very common.
Mr. Witherspoon, you spoke with other clients about this blood test?
Well, one after the other, they started calling me, and I may have called one of them after 2 or 3 had already called me.
And what did you say to them?
Beg pardon?
What did you say to them about the blood test?
I said that her husband had been ill, and they were giving him and and Miss DuPont a blood test for a various number of diseases, one of them being HIV.
Mr. Witherspoon, let me ask you this. Do you think that Ms. DuPont had anything to do with this robbery?
If I may, let me answer it in this way, Your Honor. For all the years that she worked with me, I was not aware that she had done anything unethical or illegal. However, when she left and started a business that was more or less in competition with mine, I was upset, not irate certainly, but I was saddened by it. And a lot of my customers who stayed with me felt that she had been underhanded and had been unethical. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but that's the way they felt, and I was a little disappointed in her. And all I can say is, I didn't want to be in the position when I heard these stories coming out, and they seem to be coming out from all of my ex-clients, I didn't want to be in the position of being told later, why didn't you warn us? And so I decided to tell them as much as I knew.
Do you think that you would have felt that way if Ms. DuPont still worked for you and was not trying to start up a business of her own that was competing with your business?
Well, I don't know what that would have to do with it, actually.
Thank you. I'll return with my verdict shortly.
We asked the plaintiff and defendant if they thought they'd won or lost the case, if they'd made any mistakes, and what they'd do in the future to stay out of trouble.
Well, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I hope that I've won. I think the judge was seeing reason. I think she was aware that Monsieur Witherspoon was a bit slippery in his answers and vague, which is, I think, how he has gotten away with it so far. So I'm hopeful that she will see things clearly, and that a career that is just beginning and a business that is in its infancy will not be snuffed out by an angry man. So I think I was naive because I trusted, because when I was younger I didn't see sometimes that adults are fallible. So I don't think that there are mistakes. Really, I think that people do, everything is to have a learning experience, but I think now I have grown up in a way. So no, I wouldn't do anything differently. I don't think I did anything wrong.
Oh, I think I've won it, absolutely. I don't see any proof that I had anything to do with these stories. None whatsoever. Well, when you tell the truth, you don't make a mistake. It's only when you lie. Well, we probably will never be friends again. I think she feels that way. I'm saddened by that, but maybe it's for the best.